Kia ora tātou. We know how busy principals are at NZCER. We know from our national surveys just how many of you can't find the time for the educational leadership that you thrive on. So the Teaching, School and Leadership Practices tool was developed to give you a quick and robust set of data to help you in your self-review, your planning and your school review.
This is an online survey for both teachers and principals. All of the items are from robust research, and they're also linked and based on documents that schools need to respond to. And so in behind the tool is a good body of evidence that principals can trust. It's a free tool, it's a quick tool, takes 15 to 20 minutes for teachers and principals to fill it in, but it's also highly confidential, which is really important when you're wanting people to give their honest opinions and their honest reflections. One of the good things about the tool is that across the three aspects, the teaching practices, the school practices and the leadership practices, the teachers fill in all three sections. The principals, however, fill in the school practices and the leadership practices. Now, when the reporting comes back to a principal, they can choose. They can have two formats. One is all of the teachers, but then they can also opt to have their own responses on the same reports as the teachers. Now, that becomes the point of self-reflection. That becomes the food for thought for a principal.
To develop the teaching practices part of the survey, we drew on the recent research literature about effective teaching practices, especially in relation to areas that are of particular importance in the New Zealand context at the moment. We also looked at existing surveys and we came up with 5 domains with questions under each domain. Those were reviewed by our advisory panel of experts, and it was from there that we refined them to the stage they're at now.
We've used the research on effective leadership of schools to cover a range of areas. We ask about whether staff feel you create the conditions for them to do their best work. We ask whether you are focused on solutions. We ask about whether you work with others to solve problems and have a positive approach to things.
In a recent project with 10 principals across New Zealand, many of them said, we trust NZCER, and then when we look across the items, they are important pedagogical practices that I need my teachers involved in. And so the tool becomes a great one-stop shop, is what one of the principals called it. She uses it for her own appraisal with her board chair. She uses it to guide school development and think about what are the areas of focus that we need to bring into our annual plan, into our strategic plan. And so it just gives that breadth and depth of the New Zealand context, and it's succinct in the way it puts it forward. 15 to 20 minutes is not long for you to get the breadth and depth that comes from using the Teaching and School Practices tool.